Welcome to Amazing You. I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani Thanakudi. I am a certified hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy. I am also a Mars Venus life and relationship coach, tarot reader, astrologer, and compassion life force practitioner. Today, I have the immense pleasure to introduce you all to the amazing, the beautiful Treena Chabot from Canada. She's the happiness quarterback. Treena teaches people how to design a new place in life and to score true and lasting happiness. So welcome, Treena, to Amazing You.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rani. I'm so happy to spend this time with you.
I'm so glad to Treena just call me Rani, and that's great, and so excited to have you today, Treena.
Awesome.
So tell us briefly about your story, Treena.
Yeah, so today I really wanted to concentrate on the relationship part of my story.
Okay.
And how things ended up in a not such a great way. So in 1993, I married my best friend. And within about a year, I was feeling like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So little things were getting irritating.
Right.
He wasn't really paying attention to me like he did before we were married. I felt like he stopped courting me, that kind of thing.
Yes.
The little things that were important to me were getting ignored. So I thought, let's fix this problem and have some children. Children will fix the problem, right?
Okay.
So the kids came along and they were great and everything else, but then we were differing on our parenting styles. And
so you could still see the red flags coming.
Yeah, it's like we just weren't on the same page. He would get jealous of me, and I'm like, I don't want all this attention from the children. Take them, but they want you. They don't want me. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. So that was about 4 years into our marriage. And then at the 10-year mark in 2003, I thought about when we got married, we said we were going to go to Las Vegas and get married by an Elvis impersonator. We would renew our vows kind of thing. And I'm thinking like, okay, it's been 10 years. I wouldn't marry this guy again. I'm not going to Vegas to renew any vows. Like I wouldn't do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of a red flag for me there. And then about 6 years later, I found myself sitting in the basement in the bedroom and crying, sitting on the bed crying. He came into the room and he says, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I feel like driving in front of a truck." And he says, No, don't do that. And I said, I think I need a divorce. And he says, No, things will get better. So we bought a new couch and we wallpapered the kitchen and things didn't get better. Surprise, surprise, right? Thinking that all these outside things are going to make us happy. So then fast forward several months from that. So it was February 2010. I'm back in that bedroom, lying on the bed crying. And I started thinking about the people I would leave behind if I killed myself. And I thought about my kids at the time. They were 11 and 14. And I said, well, they're strong. They'll be okay eventually. And then like a slap in the face, it was like, no, they won't be okay. How could they ever be okay losing their mother like that? So I knew that wasn't the option for me. I felt like I didn't have a choice. So I'm at work the next day and on break, and I'm, the tears are just coming out. I've stuffed down these emotions over all of these years and I can't keep them down anymore. They're just coming and coming now. And so my friend, who usually sits kitty corner to me this way, he was all of a sudden standing beside me and he says, "Are you okay?" And so I told him what was going on. And I said, I just don't think I have a choice. Like, I don't want to get a divorce. So like, I don't want to hurt the people in my life. And so I don't have a choice. I'm stuck in this marriage. And he says, "Treena, you always have a choice." And he said that he had gone through something similar in his own life and that it was really difficult at the time, but he got through it and life got better.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, I guess I have a choice. That means I have a decision to make. And I made that very difficult decision and told him that that I couldn't be married. And it was the day after Valentine's Day. If people don't know, that's so what is that today? As
Right.
we're recording this on the day after Valentine's Day. It's
Yes.
the biggest breakup day of the year. Because people reassess where they're at and they say, I'm not going another year like this.
Yeah.
So that happened, and we got through that. And I thought, I'm never going to be in another relationship again. I'm done with men. I'm just fine on my own. I'll be okay. And I had a job that could support myself and all that.
Yeah.
So within about 2 weeks of journaling and really figuring out like what happened and who am I and all these things, my thoughts turned to what would I want in another relationship? Because I said to myself, like, I really like being a wife. I like having a family. I like looking after another person. And so I said, okay, well, he's got to have this and he's got to have this. And so I made a list of 5 things, just kind of tucked it away.
Yes.
And then I went out with friends a couple weeks later, and we were just sitting having a drink at the local bar. And I said to them, do either of you know of any single guys? And they said, oh, we thought that you didn't want to be in another relationship. And I said, well, I changed my mind. So one of my friends called someone, and 40 minutes later, Mr. Wonderful walks into the bar. And so when
that was quick. That was really quick.
Yeah, talk about manifesting, right? You just say, this is what I want, and there it is. Yeah, really cool.
But your friend was really quick to call the guy, and he appeared after 40 minutes.
Yeah, like it just everything lined up. And so when he came in, I'm just like, this is a gift for me. And I felt like, wow, he's meant for me. And so then, we started seeing each other and everything. And then I started feeling the same way. Like I started feeling like little things are irritating. He's not saying what I want him to say, and he's not doing what I want him to do. And so I felt like I was just going to end up with another divorce. But I said, like, are all men the same? Is there no hope for marriage kind of thing? And I thought, well, no, he's different in a lot of ways. And he has all those things that I'm looking for. So if that's not the problem, then what's the problem? Oh, I'm the problem. It's me, right? I'm the common denominator in those relationships. So that was probably my biggest point of the beginning of my transformation. My biggest realization was that moment when I said, if I want a different life, I need to figure out what I have to do in myself, what kind of changes I need to make for that to happen. Yeah, so I started on my personal growth journey and looking at self-awareness. And over the years, it led me to be the happiness quarterback. So 13 years ago, I was so unhappy and in that moment. And now I've created a foundation of happiness. So that's pretty exciting. And that's what I like to help people with as well.
Wow, that is great. Thank you, Treena. And what did you discover about yourself along the journey?
Well, lots of things, right? It's about thinking. And I think at the beginning of the journey, I thought it was more about mindset, right? So have a positive mindset. Don't criticize people. Don't be a critic of yourself either. Those kinds of things. But then sometimes like that's not enough. And so a big thing for me was realizing how I had pushed those emotions down over the years. And so reflecting back on that time in the basement when I was thinking of ending my life, you could look at that as a fight or flight response. Like, I'm stressed out. I need to just get out of here. I'm fleeing. And the only option to me was flee this world.
Yeah.
But really, I just wanted to flee that situation, right?
Yes.
So that's something that I like to share with people, because if they're feeling that same type of thing, like, just realize you're under a lot of stress and we need to work on that stress level. And then the other thing was the type of depression that I had was not like a chemical depression. I think it was more of a situational depression. Like, work seemed to be going okay. So I wasn't unhappy in all areas of my life.
Yes.
But what had happened was over the years of not being happy in that marriage and not attending to those feelings, I just squished all those feelings down, and they compounded and resulted in that depression. So now I'm able to recognize those emotions and to manage them and process them so that I don't get to a point like that in my life again.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Treena.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So tell us what has inspired you to start your own business.
So after I got into the new relationship, I did all that work on myself, and we've now been married for almost 10 years. So that's wonderful.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. So around the same time, I guess just about a year before we got married, we bought a house in Las Vegas. Okay. And I said to him, I'm going to want to be here all the time. And he says, no, you won't. But I know me, and I know that I want to be there. So I started to think about how to leave my job. And my kids had grown up and graduated from high school. So, so around 2018, it was time for me I didn't have to support them anymore. I could make a different decision. So I had been doing some research about life purpose. And I came across this thing that said, life purpose isn't something you arrive at. It's what you've been doing your whole life.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, well, I played school with my sisters when I would look after them when they were younger, and I was younger too. And then I became a teacher, and I'm just naturally a teacher. Like, I'll teach people anything, teach them how to wipe that ketchup off the bottle in the restaurant, So I thought, okay, my purpose then is something I'm already doing. So I'm already teaching supervisors, like young people, how to be good supervisors, teaching people about human resources management. So I said, well, okay, I'm just going to take this and put it into a business and be more like a consultant. And then I can choose my hours and not have to report to work every day and work from home and stuff like that, and work remotely, obviously. So I started doing that work in 2018.
Okay.
And then did that for a couple of years. And it was, I guess, in 2020, everything went online. And so I actually got my first client after doing different kinds of workshops and that. And I had a one-on-one coaching client as a supervisor, trying to get better in supervisor skills. And we went through the program. And at the end, I'm like, it was good. And he liked it, but that's not it. Like, there's more than this. And the teaching of that topic just wasn't doing it for me anymore. So I was selling a health product at the time, and I thought, I'm going to be a healthy aging specialist. So I started talking about mind, body, and spirit all coming together, and use this product if you think it'll help you, and like with this or that. And I quickly hit a wall, like an imposter syndrome thing, because I don't have a background in biology. I'm not a chemist. I have no idea what these plants are.
Right.
So it's very difficult for me to talk about them. And so then I was speaking to a coach and telling her all about this. And she says, well, what is the biggest thing that has happened to you in your life that you can help other people in the same situation? And I said, well, clearly it's that realization that I needed to work on myself if I was ever going to be happy. And as soon as I said that out loud, it's like, ding, we have a winner. That's what it is. Yes. So now I felt in alignment with my authentic self and my experience and everything. So, so that was the biggest thing, is just, that's my purpose, is we go through these things in life so that we can help others to not suffer like we've suffered. So, and then the happiness quarterback was just a fun branding thing that I did, and it's great. So,
wow, that's great. It's about, you've mentioned about that. It's so many people, we spend our time looking for our purpose. We think that we need to keep finding the purpose, and some people get very stressed. They can't find their purpose. But instead, the purpose has been there all the way. The purpose has been in their life, but they haven't. It's not that your purpose will come to you, but your purpose is there in your life, and it will find you at some point as you start to work on yourself like you did.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
Yeah.
And I just tell people, do your work purposefully.
Yes.
If you can't find your purpose, do your work purposefully, but then also like look at some passions that you have.
Yes.
And what you would enjoy doing. And actually, it's funny. I have someone in my program was talking about her purpose and thinking like, I think it's a painting of some sort, like doing painting. And then she went to see an energy reading person and they said, yeah, I see painting in your future kind of thing. And so I think a lot of us have this inner sense of knowing.
Yes.
That we question it. We doubt it.
Yes.
And so what's the problem with just saying, I think it's painting. I'm going to just try painting, right? Just like I tried the healthy aging thing. Yes. I just tried it. And then it didn't work. So then I tried something else. So I like that.
And it reminds me of myself when I think of my purpose. I remember that when I was little, because your purpose is always, you will find it when you look back in your childhood. What are the things you like to do? And I remember when I was 6, 7, I told my dad, my parents, I wanted a blackboard. At that time, it was a blackboard, not a whiteboard like we have today. So my dad contacted the carpenter. So he made a small blackboard for me. And I would spend hours in the garage sitting with my dolls and writing with different colors of chalks. And that gave me so much joy. And then later in life, that's what I've been doing. When I look back, I have been teaching my whole life, and I do like that. I really enjoy teaching, whether it's big groups, small groups, large groups, adults, younger children, but it's something that I really like, and I think it will be always part of my life, teaching, because it was, when I look back, I say this was something that I really like, and I am doing it. I am still doing it. It gives me great joy to be in the classroom, to be with the students. So the purpose has already been there. It was there in my childhood. It was just to look back and see what is it that I like that gives me joy,
Yeah, exactly. And in my case, it was just, I'm a teacher. I had trouble with happiness. So I'm just going to put those together and I'm going to teach happiness.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And it seems obvious now, but obviously it wasn't obvious during my journey.
And what has been for you the greatest challenge in your life, Treena? And how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it before, but I think just gaining control. Okay. I had given my power away to my ex-husband. It's whatever he wanted, whatever would make him happy, that's what we did. And I felt that was my role, was to make him happy, but I needed to take back and empower myself again and make my own decisions and fix my own problems instead of waiting for him to do it. And so learning how to do that and just create happiness at the same time. So getting over patterns like people pleasing.
Yes.
That's a big one that a lot of women have.
Yes.
And then, like I said before, regulating the emotions and then just separating myself from the stuff. So it's interesting. In my healing journey, I tried some meditation years ago, and the third time in, it finally worked. And she says, like, okay, now everyone came here for a reason, so go to that now and find the answer to your reason. And I said, okay, what is my reason for wanting to know what meditation feels like? And all of a sudden, it felt like inside my head, there were two different things. There was not two different things, but I was there. And then all of my thoughts and experiences were separate from me. And I said, oh, wow, I've been trying to get freedom from myself. All that stuff on me, I just needed to get away from all of it. And so I've been able to do that consciously now, right? And that's what consciousness is to see that that's not mine. It's just stuff that was piled on me. And this is me over here. And we start with a clean slate over here, and I choose my own beliefs and all those things. So
absolutely. Yeah.
That's been really rewarding.
Wow. Thank you, Treena. And who has been the most influential person in your life and why?
That one's always a tough question for a lot of people because there's lots of people who influence us, right? Everyone we encounter influences us one way or the other. Like, don't do this, do this.
That's so true.
Yeah, but you and I were talking about Polka Dot Powerhouse earlier today, and the CEO, her name is Shannon Crotty, and I would say that I've gotten a lot out of her and her vision, and she created that company so that women would have a place to gather and support each other.
That's
because
nice.
it seemed that was something missing from a lot of our lives, right?
Yes.
The self-doubt and the isolation, whereas we come together and we feel better about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So so it was her vision, and there's a whole story behind that, and now there's chapters all over. So I'm part of one of those, and it's been great to meet new friends and know people all over the place, and I definitely feel supported.
That's amazing. Yes, to be part of that network and to have had that lady who has been influential in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. And what are the 3 qualities that you admire in that lady?
So I would say her authenticity is really important. She doesn't pull any punches. She tells you what she's good at, what her zone of genius is, and she tells you flat out that she's not good at these other things, and that's why she hires other people to do them.
Yes.
So I think that's a really healthy self-perspective there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say like bravery as well. She steps in, she calls it being in the deep end, but she steps into that with fear probably, but it doesn't stop her. And, she'll figure it out, whatever it is, and she'll get to where she needs to go. So she really just puts herself out there, and she encourages us to do the same. So that's really good.
Mm.
And then at the same time, I would say that she's also loving. To want to surround herself with all of her dot sisters, it's really great. And she shares her personal stuff with us too, and just wants everyone to love themselves and love each other. So it's pretty cool.
Yes. Thank you, Treena, for sharing that. Thank you. And what good has helped you, Treena? Because you've had a lot of challenging times in your life, and what good that has helped you in those times?
I don't even know why I came or why I embraced this quote. A lot of people will know it, but it's everything happens for a reason. And I've said that for a long, long time.
Uh-huh.
And, if I would quit a job or not be happy here and move over here, or the divorce, but everything, I know it's part of a bigger plan. And even before I became more spiritual, I think I knew that somehow. So there was still part of my true self in there somewhere.
Yes.
A little bit of intuition that I always grabbed onto. So everything happens for a reason.
Oh, yes, it does. Everything happened for a reason. I used to say that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to say that to give myself hope.
Yeah.
And to know that I can overcome anything, and we are strong enough, and we are on that journey of learning and growing.
Yeah. I like what you said about hope, because that's something that a lot of my clients have in common is they're at a point of hopelessness. And that's where I was in that room. I was feeling hopeless. I didn't know what to do. Yeah. And I thought there was nothing I could do. Mm-hmm. And it's important for people to know that that there is hope. They just have to find a way to see that there is hope.
Absolutely. That's why I created this podcast and YouTube, because I know at this time, so many people are facing really, really tough times. I just spoke to a lady going through a very hard time in her relationship. And I keep telling her, if you have the time, just listen to the podcast and the YouTube, because people face so much, and you can overcome that too.
Yeah.
It's about being kind and to yourself, and give yourself the time, but know that there is help out there, and to reach out, Yeah. That's how all of us, we got out of from the hole that we were. We reach out to people, we reach out for help, and yes, that help is out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what would you say to encourage people, Treena, today who are facing some really challenging times?
Yeah, so I guess we said, there is hope. And I would say, I would acknowledge their pain, that, you're having a human experience, and being human can be painful.
Yeah.
I'd want people to feel their emotions and allow themselves to feel them, and to allow them to kind of understand what the emotions are trying to tell them.
I think that's so important, Treena. Yes, to feel our emotions and to listen what our emotions are trying to tell us, because the society have taught us to push down our emotions, to ignore our emotions, that is not good to feel, that is not good to cry. And I think that's so important, because if we do not express our emotions, they will go in the body and cause some kind of pain, some kind of illnesses. Yeah.
And some other things I would say is that there's nothing wrong. Like, if it's a certain person, there's nothing wrong with you, right? If you've lived this human experience, and the stuff that's happening to you is common to so many people. And so we just need to figure out what that is and how other people have dealt with the same thing. And just to know that everything they need is within them. That sounds kind of corny, but it really is, right?
Yes.
They're going to be able to solve their own problems and become whole again and fill that emptiness.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Treena. And what book has impacted you the most, Treena?
Oh, I find a little nugget in pretty much every book, but you know what?
Yes.
I always go back to The Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle. It's just, it's a traditional one, whatever. And some people don't like Eckhart Tolle, but I think he's really interesting. And I actually saw him live once, and he practices what he preaches, because it's just him in a chair on the stage, and he's present. He's present with you. He's not going back to remember what he thought he was going to tell you. He just decides now what to say. And he really helps you to just slow down. And the book does as well, right? Slow down. See that those thoughts are just thoughts, and they're running and doing what they want. Those emotions are doing what they want, but we can just be present and not engage in those things. And so it's nice to think about. Yeah.
You've been very lucky to see him in person. Yeah.
Yeah, I recommend it. It was pretty interesting.
And what is the title of the book?
It is called, well, he's got different books, but it's called The Power of Now.
Okay, The Power of Now. That's the book that had a big influence on you.
Yeah, for sure. It was probably one of my first ones that really helped me to become more conscious. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And can you tell us briefly about what you do in a bit more detail today?
Yeah.
And how can people reach out to you, Treena?
For sure. So they can find me at treenachabot.com. I think I'm the only Treena Chabot on the internet. So just Google Treena with 2 E's. And they'll be able to find me. But on my website, they'll see some information about the Happy Starting Today program.
Okay.
So that's videos and worksheets and things, and then opportunities to meet with me online every month to do some different things, different opportunities. I also do speaking for people's groups. If they want, some kind of message like the stuff I've talked about today, I can definitely do some free talks and that. And then also I started something called millionpeoplehappier.com, because happiness has a ripple effect.
Yes.
If I'm happy with a person, now I've made them happy. And now in their next conversation, they're going to make that person happy. And then that person will make that person happy. So we've got 3 ripples. And if each person impacts 100 people, 100 and 100 and 100, we now have 1 million people. So I started just kind of a movement, I guess. And I'm asking people to make the pledge to do the inner work. And I'll send them out a pledge card. And I also send tips regularly out to them. Just little things that they can do in their daily lives to be more conscious of their happiness.
Yes.
And then, of course, if people need more help than that, then the Happy Starting Today program might be right for them.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful. Because people need that at this time, Treena. Even if it's a little thing that they can do each day, that will help them get out of their specific challenging times. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Treena, for taking the time today to share your story, talk to the audience, to share your message of hope. And I wish you a lot of success, a lot of good health, and a great year 2023.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. I wish the same for you.
Thank you, Treena. And I would like to say thank you to the audience for watching, for listening, for sharing, and for subscribing. So have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye, Treena.
Bye-bye.